May I please ask the secretary to read the order?
Debate on vote number 33, Tourism Appropriation Bill.
Thank you very much. Before we start, I just want to say to our guests, distinguished guests in the gallery, and members of the public, that you are very welcome to this EPC. However, the rules of Parliament expect of you to resume an observer status. That means that you won't participate in the proceedings that are happening in this floor, and that includes clapping of hands, using of cameras, or any other type of participation. But you're highly welcome, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. I will now invite the Honorable Minister of Tourism to open the debate.
Chairperson, honorable members, tourism is about creating opportunity, hope, and a better life for all. It is about people. It's about the people who are working across the tourism value chain, and it's about the millions of people who come here from all over the world to savor what our country has to offer. Improving this experience and selling it to the world so that our people derive lasting benefits out of tourism is what drives the plans and projects in the budget that we are presenting here to you today. This year we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the adoption of the Freedom Charter. The well-known clause that all people shall share in the country's wealth goes to the heart of our commitment to advance inclusive, sustainable growth and job creation. The Freedom Charter also captures an aspiration with very explicit relevance to our industry. Rest, leisure, and recreation shall be the right of all. This, I believe, guides us towards creating affordable access for all our people to enjoy our rich natural and cultural heritage. Tourism growth, honorable members, is not only about increasing the numbers of domestic tourists or international arrivals, it is about growth that is environmentally and socially responsible, that brings marginalized people and communities into the tourism mainstream. It's about connecting people and enriching their lives. Tourism is our opportunity to share our rich history, our diverse cultures, our wildlife, and our incredible scenic beauty with people from all over the world. Honorable members, it is clear that tourism is making a huge impact on our country. That is why it is recognized in the National Development Plan as one of the main drivers of South Africa's economy. The tourism budget for 2015-16 is 1.8 billion rand. Considering that this represents only 0.13% of the total budget, we are doing extremely well. According to the latest economic impact report published by the World Travel and Tourism Council, tourism contributed 9.4% of South Africa's gross domestic product in 2014 and almost 10% to employment. This means that 1 in every 10 job opportunities in our country is supported by tourism. These employment opportunities include direct tourism jobs in hotels, restaurants, entertainment, tour guiding, travel agencies, conference organizers, and tour operators. It also includes the indirect jobs throughout the industries that support the tourism value chain. The facts speak for themselves. If we succeed in achieving our tourism growth targets, we will make a massive difference in tackling poverty and unemployment in our country. And the good news is that despite some of the recent challenges, including the unfortunate effect of the Ebola epidemic in West Africa, our tourism industry continues to grow. The 6.6% growth recorded in 2014 once again exceeded the average global growth in tourism. Honourable members, I was delighted to have some of our committee members, as well as many of you who are in the gallery today, join us at Indaba 2015 in Durban a few days ago. Indaba is the largest travel show on our continent by far, with more than 1,000 exhibitors, including 300 exhibitors from 20 African countries, and about 2,000 buyers from the world's tourism source markets. Indaba 2015 was a resounding success. Indeed. The support that we enjoyed from countries across the continent reinforced the spirit of Africa Month as a celebration of unity. During the event, I announced that we intend to expand Indaba's footprint through new partnerships. In the next few months, we will be issuing a call for proposals from prospective partners with a global reach to work with us to make Indaba even more competitive. Honourable members, we have ambitious targets to grow our international tourist arrivals over the next few years. Our target is to attract 12 million international tourist arrivals by 2018. And we are hoping to see an increase in domestic holiday trips from 2.8 million in 2014 to 4.1 million by 2020. With this level of growth, we will be well on track to achieve the NDP's target of creating 225,000 additional jobs within the sector by 2020. To help us achieve these targets, 54% of our budget for this year goes to South African tourism. Growth in domestic tourism is critical to the future of the tourism sector in South Africa. In the next year, SA Tourism will focus on building a culture of tourism with a ring-fenced budget of 100 million rand. A significantly enhanced marketing program will combine awareness of the benefits of travel with exciting destinations and affordable product offerings. SA Tourism has been doing an outstanding job in marketing Destination South Africa. However, we must continuously ask ourselves, how can we market our magnificent destination even better? How can we make our attractive offer even more attractive? It is in this context that I appointed a panel to review the work of SA Tourism. The final report of this panel, honourable members, which was chaired by former Minister of Environment and Tourism, Mr. Vali Musa, will soon be presented to me. I'm confident that the outcome of the review will steer us on a path of continuous innovation. Honourable members, throughout the world, tourists vote with their feet. Their votes are based on the service they receive, ease of travel, and the value for money offered by destinations. In the highly competitive global marketplace that we operate in, we must work harder than ever to ensure that every tourist who arrives on our shores has the best experience possible. Several initiatives are being implemented under this budget to enhance our amazing destination offerings, while at the same time promoting transformation and responsible tourism. In March this year, I announced the introduction of the Tourism Incentive Program. This program aims to advance sector transformation, enterprise growth, and destination development. It includes an exciting new retrofitting program, starting with a focus on energy efficiency, which will reduce the operational costs of tourism businesses. We will pilot the installation of photovoltaic panels at some of our state-owned attractions this year, such as the World Heritage Sites and National Botanical Gardens. 180 million rand will be spent on this pilot phase. An additional 368 million rand is budgeted for the following years to extend the energy retrofit subsidy to private sector tourism enterprises. Well, I was wondering when the applause was going to start happening, but at least it's here. The incentive program will also support efforts to ensure that our community tourism projects are sustainable by improving the business and management skills of the owners, and to assist tourism businesses to market their products. Qualifying applicants will receive financial assistance to access new markets by attending tourism travel shows. The incentive will also be used to subsidize some of the costs of grading by the Grading Council of South Africa. This will particularly benefit SMMEs operating on low margins who may otherwise struggle to cover the assessment fees to get themselves graded. Over time, the retrofitting program will also be expanded to address universal accessibility. The program will provide resources to make establishments and attractions friendly to people with disabilities. Allowing all people equal access to tourism facilities can make a world of difference, as I learned when I opened the new Park Inn Hotel in Newlands recently. Bruno Druchen, the National Director of Deaf SA, who is unfortunately unable to be with us today, negotiated a deal with a property developer to build the hotel on land owned by Deaf SA. He insisted on two conditions. The hotel had to employ a significant number of deaf people, and Deaf SA had to be the majority shareholder in this venture. Today, honorable members, Deaf SA owns 51% of the hotel. About 30% of the staff are deaf, and the hotel has special facilities for physically disabled people. This has raised the bar for how tourism establishments in South Africa respond to the needs of people with disabilities, and we can proudly proclaim that South Africa has become a world leader in this field. Honorable members, we have the wildlife, exquisite beaches, mountains, spectacular scenery, but the unforgettable experience we would like to offer tourists depends even more on how well they are hosted. For good hosting and service excellence, you need a good, well-trained workforce. Investing in human capital is critically important. We will complete a skills audit for the tourism sector and its value chain this year. This will be followed by an intensified skills development drive that will take us into the next decade of tourism growth. Our current investment in training food safety officers, chefs, and sommeliers is already paying dividends in creating employment opportunities for our youth and improving the quality of service to tourists. Deputy Minister Klasa will provide more details of our skills development program shortly. It is essential to expose young people to the many career opportunities available to them in the tourism industry as early as possible. Schools that offer tourism as part of their curriculum are making a valuable contribution to the sector. Today, we are delighted to welcome learners from Cannons Creek Independent School in Cape Town. My words to you, where are you? My words to you, our future leaders, there is no limit to what you can achieve in the tourism sector. I hope that soon one of you will be down here addressing Parliament as the Minister of Tourism, and I'll be up there listening to you deliver your budget vote speech from the public gallery. Honourable members, the high level of unemployment in South Africa makes job creation a priority for all sectors of our economy. But job creation without skills development and training does not lead to sustainable employment. Training is therefore a crucial element of all our projects funded under the Expanded Public Works Program and the Social Responsibility Initiative. Our EPWP tourism infrastructure projects have a strong rural bias, which will create jobs in areas where they are most needed. We plan to support the creation of 11,000 full-time equivalent jobs through the SRI program over the MTEF period. Every single job we create has the potential to change someone's life, to support a family, and build a future. To illustrate this, let me take you deep into the rural heart of the Free State, where the department supported the building of the Metsi Macho Lodge. Ms. Refilwe Moyeye, who is also here with us today in the gallery, was employed. I'm sure she may stand that you can see her at least. Refilwe was employed as a general worker in the project. She and her brother lost their parents when she was just 20 years old. She struggled to find employment. And then the construction of the Metsi Macho Lodge began. This is what she says. I will never forget the day I was hired at Metsi Macho. After a few months, our lives started to change. I saved half of my salary every month. This year, I built a house for my brother and I. Now we are living a better life. Our Social Responsibility Initiative has implemented several programs for youth and women to enable them to obtain employment or to start their own businesses in the tourism and hospitality fields. These include the National Young Chefs Program, the Sommeliers Program, and the Tourism Buddies Program. In 2014-15, about 3,800 young people were enrolled as tourism buddies. Their learning placements in food and beverages and accommodation services would not have been possible without our industry partners, and we thank them for their support. These placements will continue this year. An additional 300 young people will be trained for the diploma in cookery, and a further 200 young people will be trained for the advanced diploma in cookery. Honorable members, allow me to share with you an example of how the training we offer in these programs can transform people's lives. Lee Mark Janssen, a young man who is here with us today. Where are you? There we are. Lee Mark was unemployed and the head of the household after his mother fell ill. In 2012, he was selected to participate in the Tourism Buddies hospitality program, which empowers young people through on-the-job training. He started working as a cleaner at Tsitsikamma National Park. Today, Lee Mark is a front desk employee at the Addo Elephant National Park. In his own words, my journey has just begun. The Tourism Buddies program paved the way to my future. Without this program, I would not be where I am today. Well done, Lee Mark. In addition to developing the skills of individuals, we strongly support the development and growth of small and medium-sized enterprises. Growing the number of enterprises is essential for sustainable development and job creation. In this financial year, we will support 100 rural tourism businesses through the Tourism Enterprise Partnership. The focus will be on skills development, mentorship, access to information, market access training, and quality assurance. We will contribute 13.5 million rand towards this partnership this year. Also this year, honorable members, we will review the National Tourism Sector Strategy, which was approved by Cabinet in 2011. We have already achieved or exceeded some of the targets in the strategy. The review will start with a comprehensive environmental scan to identify opportunities to enhance the development, promotion, and transformation of tourism. Stakeholder consultation will be an integral part of the process, and an expert panel drawn from key stakeholder groups will be appointed. To continue deriving benefits from tourism for all our people, we must continually improve the competitiveness of our destination and the authenticity of our experiences. During this MTF period, we will prioritize investment in some of our key tourism magnets, such as the World Heritage Sites, including Robben Island, our national parks, and our botanical gardens. Honorable members, we often talk about public-private partnerships in our industry, and they remain our lifeblood. But I also want to stress the importance of public-public partnerships. We need all three spheres of government and the various tourism agencies to work together with a common purpose. Policy coherence, collaboration, and coordination are critically important. We need to learn from the world's truly successful tourism destinations who have adopted a whole-of-government approach to ensure that tourism development satisfies the multiple mandates of their individual sectors. If we do not align our work in critical areas, such as expanding air connectivity and minimizing unnecessary costs and inconvenience in processing visa applications, we will struggle to unlock the full potential of job creation and inclusive growth that this sector offers. We recall President Zuma's statement during his State of the Nation address earlier this year that we will, and I quote, prioritize the review of visa regulations to strike a balance between national security and growth in tourism. We are looking forward to further dialogue with our sister departments in our attempt to find this balance. Honourable members, the ongoing transformation of our sector remains one of our greatest priorities. The challenges we face include poor representation of black women in ownership
One
and
minute
management.
left, Minister, round up.
Sorry?
1 minute left.
And insufficient representation of black people, thank you, Chairperson, of black people in the sector. Large established businesses are also not procuring sufficient goods and services from black-owned enterprises. I'm going to skip the paragraph where we say a little bit more about that, but I'm going to say, honourable members, the stories of Bruno Druchen, Lee Mark Jansen, and Refilwe Moyeye are extremely important to us. They represent the experiences of real people. There are many more stories that demonstrate how tourism is creating hope and opportunity for the people of South Africa. I want to thank the people who are making these stories possible by driving this sector through their leadership. Deputy Minister Xhasa, Acting Director General Victor Tarache, and the entire Department of Tourism, the SA Tourism Board, represented by the Chairperson and the CEO, the leadership of Tourism Business Council of South Africa, and all the associations who are part of it, and the thousands of people who are tourist
Thank
ambassadors on the ground. Thank you for your effort and your dedication.
Honourable Minister.
I will skip, I'll take 1 minute of my reply time if you don't mind, or 30 seconds. To the Portfolio Committee Chairperson, the Honourable Beatrice Ngobo, and all the members of the committee, we appreciate the constructive way in which we can always engage with you in the best interests of this remarkable sector and all our people. Honourable members, tourism in our country is growing stronger every year. The benefits of tourism are enormous for our people, our communities, and our economy. We are determined to maintain this growth, and we are committed to making tourism more inclusive and sustainable. As we succeed in attaining these aspirations, the transformative power of tourism will multiply significantly, and the lives of more and more of our people will be changed forever. I thank you.
Thank you. The table will assist me with the time taken. Kulesi sikhathi sizokumema usihlalo wekomiti umhlonishwa Ngcobo ukuqhubekisa inkulumo mpikisano phambili. Umhlonishwa uzokhuluma from lapho ahlezi khona. Assist with the mic, please. Somebody assist with the mic. No, it's not audible.
I'm being inconvenienced. Chairperson,
Thank you.
the Minister of Tourism and the Deputy Minister, the Department of Tourism, South African Tourism, the tourism industry, honorable members. The African National Congress supports this budget vote, and tourism as a committee is dedicated this budget vote to Mem Mbadi as a gift as she goes out of this world. The National Development Plan recognizes tourism as one of the drivers of economic growth and job creation. It further envisages the promotion of South Africa as a tourist destination to boost tourist numbers and enable the sector to contribute directly to poverty reduction and inclusive economic growth. A full tourism potential can be achieved through a well-resourced department that will champion programs that facilitate inclusive economic growth. In preparation, after the department and the South African Tourism had submitted their strategic plan and the APP, in preparation for the budget vote, the committee interacted with the department and SAT, as well as tourism stakeholders, to establish the needs of the sector and ascertain strategies that could be implemented to promote inclusive growth. Meetings were held with Tourism Business Council of South Africa, Tourism Enterprise Partnership, and Hospitality Industry FEDASA. According to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, countries should appreciate a good tourism destination. So South Africa as a country and as a destination has to maintain a high level of tourist satisfaction, ensuring meaningful experience for tourists, raising awareness about sustainability issues, and promoting sustainable tourism practices among themselves. The Tourism Resource Efficiency Program will cut costs and doing business, contribute to clean environment, and make parks and World Heritage sites self-sustaining, as the minister has already alluded to that. Grading will also involve small businesses for the first time that have been excluded in this program. Service Excellence Program will be implemented in all the 9 provinces. This will ensure that South Africa as a tourist destination has the same appreciation, understanding, and the significance of providing high quality service and experience for visitors, thus encouraging repeat visits. This is likely to happen or become a reality, as each province believed it is doing better than the others. This was displayed at the local government conference in Johannesburg by provinces. We call upon the private sector to work with government in achieving positive destination image, as it is at the coalface of providing services to tourists, both domestic and international. A budget has been set aside for improvement of signage of the World Heritage Sites, the Cradle of Mankind, Fredefort Dome, and Isimangaliso. Some countries, such as Turkey, Kenya, are doing very well in their domestic tourism, and others have done better. They've improved their GDP, they've improved their economy, and have increased employment. Domestic tourism will translate to direct and indirect employment. The department should also engage the private sector regarding their domestic packages to facilitate affordability of all citizens. Domestic tourism can transform tourism industry that remains myopic and representative of the previous economic structural deficiencies. As we talk about domestic tourism, we must also be aware that tourism knows no borders and plays a big role in boosting regional tourism economy. Countries such as Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Namibia have introduced a Univisa and are already reaping rewards from seamless movement of tourists between their countries. South Africa already receives a huge number of visitors from the region, and an introduction of a Univisa in the entire SADC region may also be very helpful, because people from the region come to South Africa to promote trade, to do business, tourism, shopping, and leisure. The budget for continued participation of the department in the Regional Tourism Organization in Southern Africa, RETOSA, is commended, as this organization provides a platform to align destinations South Africa issues on the regional agenda. When we talk of social responsibility implementation program, we can actually mention some programs or some projects that have come to fruition. Kumjekejeke near east of Pretoria is nearing completion and will be open for tourism business later this year. The department invested 22 million for its construction. This is the only place in the country where the history of Amandebele is preserved and where their former three kings were buried. It has an accommodation of 22 people and an amphitheater that will be used for musical festivals and other entertainment. A modern restaurant has been handed over to the community at Betty's Bay in the Western Cape on the 10th of April 2015. This project is solely owned by Mooi Edseg community and will provide service both to domestic and international tourism that visit the place at Stony Point. It will enhance tourists to appreciate penguin colony and whale watching at the place. 100 unemployed young people from KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, and Limpopo have been trained as qualified food safety assurers. They will be employed in the tourism value chain, where establishments will benefit from their skills, including restaurants and hotels. Actually, the 100 young people have been employed in the respective provinces. The projects that failed are being dealt with by the Department of Tourism, and some cases are in the hands of the law enforcement agencies. The budget for the next 5 years caters for a variety of skills programs. The capacity building and skills training programs will produce a pool of skilled tourism personnel that possess skills currently needed in the sector. The training program will further address skills shortage and training gaps in the industry. There are youth development programs that are taking place. The hospitality industry has supported some young people from the rural schools in the Eastern Cape. They supported these schools with uniforms, stationery, and a library. The schools are Kulu Junior Secondary and St. Patrick's High School were the beneficiary. The program will progress to other provinces. The support was obtained from Hilton Worldwide and Hilton Sentin. We actually appreciate the work that they've done. National Tourism Careers Expo is meant to raise the profile of tourism at school level, expose learners to a variety of tourism careers, learners from grade 9 to 12, to also involve tourism students and employed graduates, to match employers with graduates for job placement. Educator Exposure Program, which exposes tourism teachers to tourism industry to provide them with invaluable insights that assist them in lesson planning and making the subject interesting. 300 graduates recruited from the TVET colleges will be placed to do food as food security assurers, and we are sure that they will be improving the food safety in the industry. The Department of Tourism has employed a sizable number of people with disabilities and is fully accessible. The department has changed the lives of many people and is going to change more. Siyasebenza, siyaqhuba. I would like to thank the committee, support staff, and the ministers, the minister and the deputy minister, for their availability to the committee. I'll also wish to also extend my thanks to the department and SAT, which are helping the committee with as much information as is necessary when asked for. I thank you.
Sithokoze usihlalo. Ons gaan nou voort met die debat en nooi die geachtbare lid voor ons na die podium.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chairperson, it is without a doubt that tourism can be used as an effective tool to create jobs, provide opportunities for small businesses, to promote livelihoods for communities, and bring South Africans together to share experiences. And the DA believes that this can be achieved. Regrettably, various reports reveal that domestic tourism figures in South Africa are declining due to unaffordability and limited geographic spread. South African Tourism Annual Report for 2013-2014 shows that one of the strategic objectives was to increase the number of domestic travelers to 15 million last year. Its actual achievement was only 12 million domestic travelers over this period, which was 20% below target and a drop of 500,000 domestic travelers when compared to the 2012-2013 financial year. Domestic tourism is shrinking. When the international trend is to grow tourism, why are our citizens doing less travel? The answer is straightforward. Honourable Chair, tourism and travel for South Africans are just too expensive. For example, a family of 4 would end up paying 920 Rand for a trip to Robben Island. And to make matters worse, the prices will be increasing from next month. This is reprehensible. A critical piece of our people's history will cost a South African citizen almost 1,000 Rand to visit as a family. This will put it out of reach for many average South African families. Where is the national pride in that? And what an insult to our reconciliation as a nation. Honourable Chair, governments of developing countries are actively pursuing tourism growth in their countries. Now, in order to maximize the gains arising from entry fees to various government-owned facilities, and not to restrict their local population from experiencing and connecting with its own heritage, many countries have introduced a dual pricing system. Now, dual pricing, whereby foreign visitors are asked to pay different fees than domestic visitors, means that South Africans whose tax money already fund these attractions get major discounts to visit them. Now, that sounds attractive. Now, while implementing a two-tier pricing system might be difficult, certain attractions such as Table Mountain already make it possible for locals to visit for free, simply by presenting your South African ID on the day of your birthday. Another example is the Kruger National Park, with their dual pricing system for South Africans and foreign visitors. So these models already exist in our country, and this is the challenge to the National Department of Tourism. Price attractions for high volume, not for low volume, and watch the surrounding economy thrive too. And therefore the department should consider to extend this model further. Madam Chair, the DA also further proposes that the National Department of Tourism considers introducing a model titled Experience Our South Africa, considers then to bring more focus on encouraging South Africans to get out and explore our country while addressing affordability issues and limited geographic spread. Now, this initiative would allow for all South Africans to gain free or discounted entry to government-owned national parks, museums, reserves, and the like on non-religious public holidays in South Africa. And it is our belief that this Experience Our South Africa initiative will help to stimulate local domestic tourism growth and open up South Africa to be experienced by our locals. This in turn should also help to stimulate local job creation and economic growth within those surrounding communities. And at the same time, Madam Chair, affordable accommodation also needs to be prioritized. A budget resort chain must be introduced, and it must be affordable to all South Africans. To quote the former minister from his budget speech in 2013, and I quote, "It is simply wrong to have state resources stand vacant while there is cropped up demand in certain market segments. We have also commissioned a feasibility study for a pilot budget resort chain, which could in some or other way be de-risked through partnership approaches," close quote. Now, Madam Chair, disappointingly, not much has been done by the Tourism Department to make any progress in this regard. Now, the DA's own research has revealed that there are approximately 700 municipal resorts throughout the country that are either dilapidated, dysfunctional, or poorly managed. This is deplorable given the fact that these resorts were built with taxpayers' money, and they are becoming a huge liability for these municipalities. Now, Madam Chair, we submit that following an audit, these resorts should either be sold or leased to the private sector. This will take the financial burden of their upkeep away from the municipalities and stimulate local economic growth prospects. This should be government policy, and this department must work towards this objective, especially as it's reflected in the National Tourism Sector Strategy, and as the Minister announced, will also go under review. And we submit that this particular piece of the National Tourism Sector Strategy should not be amended, because we must see a budget resort be developed in South Africa to cater for the new market. So, Madam Chair, the last few years' decline in domestic tourism sadly backs up all of these submissions that I've made. Honourable Chairperson, moving forward, without fail, we must streamline international tourist facilitation to our country. Now, since the visa and birth certificate regulations were announced, bookings from China and India are down by 90%. And according to the Board of Airline Representatives of South Africa, the new regulations for passengers traveling by air with children could cost the tourism sector over 6.8 billion rand in losses. There's a simple solution. Collect the biometric data on arrival at airports, as other countries do, and introduce electronic visa application systems. Honourable Chair, I have here in my possession proof of cancellations from several major hotel groups and tour operators as a result of these new regulations. We stand to lose millions of rands, and the Tourism Business Council of South Africa has already indicated that we may lose 270,000 international tourists, and in turn lose 21,000 jobs each year, costing our economy 9.7 billion rand. So, Madam Chair, less dialogue and more action is required. Let's be clear on this issue. The tourism industry cannot afford this, and ultimately South Africa cannot afford this. Finally, Honourable Chair, we are delighted to have seated in the public gallery our guests from the tourism industry, as well as other spheres of government, to observe our proceedings here today. It also gives me great pleasure to welcome the winners of the Cape Town Tourism Development Fund. The aim of this program is to assist small, medium and micro enterprises with support to develop the tourism businesses. Now, the two successful SMMEs are Escape to the Cape with owner Shahid Ibrahim, and Abizo Tours and Events that focus on township tourism with owner Siabulela Siaka. May I please ask them to stand so that we may applaud them for their contribution. And in conclusion, Madam Chair, to everyone else, specifically those industries involved in tourism, your contribution needs no introduction. The results speak for themselves. All of you bring passion and knowledge to develop and promote tourism in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sebakeng sena re tlo laletsa mme motlhomphegi Makose go tswetsa polelo pele.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name
Order,
is
honourable
Mabatu
members.
Mokause. I'm representing the EFF in this budget vote. As our MP who was a member of this committee was expelled from the party and from Parliament. The Economic Freedom Fighters rejects the tourism budget 2015-2016 budget vote.
Order, honourable members.
Chair, it is important to note that China has the biggest economy in the world because of its lenient visa application requirements, and that it allows people from all over the world to buy goods and services. As a matter of fact, any person who wants to visit China must just prove that they have money in their bank accounts and can go through
Order,
and do
honourable
not
members.
have to go through the red tapes that Minister Malusi Gigaba has created in South Africa, which has serious implications in our tourism. What is the logic behind demanding that documents be translated to English and that people must do biometric tests and renew their visas in their own home countries when they can do it in South Africa? Honorable Chair, the issue of security is highly exaggerated because the biggest security breach since 1994 was when government allowed the Guptas to illegally land in the National Key Point and the incident of the warning Rwandan elites in Michelangelo Hotel, which we had no control over. The immigration law issue and its effect on the tourism industry does not take away the many issues we need to fix in the tourism industry in South Africa. The tourism industry remains largely owned and controlled by whites. There has been lack of transformation. This government has been in power for 21 years. We can no longer
Honourable
accept
members.
excuses. No significant opportunities are being given to black businesses to tap into the market. This department's strategic and performance plans are clearly indication that there's not much will change. Reports on how programs will be executed are very vague. There has been no monitoring or evaluation of existing projects yet. We are expected to pour public funds into the projects. We have no guarantee that they are working or benefiting our own people. The department has done little to ensure improved working conditions for workers, to ensure that they earn a decent minimum wage and that they have sustainable jobs and not add to a growing pool of temporary workers we have across the industries. Most black workers are assigned junior positions and kept there. Yes, despite experience and knowledge of industries, those in jobs such as chefs, tour guides, waitresses, cleaners, drivers, etc., continue to work in terrible conditions and are subject to racial slurs. Long hours of slaves' wages. Most are salaried by tips without any job security. Government must legislate a minimum wage of 4,500 for all workers in the tourism and hospitality sector. South African tourism has received an additional budget, but its targets are lower than those of 2011-2012 financial year when they had even less resources. What are they planning to do with our money? It does not make sense, Honorable Chair, for us to allocate so much money to the department that has no idea what it will do with the budget. We therefore reject the budget.
Ons noem nou agbare lid Esther Hazen.
Madam Chair. May I carry on?
Order, honourable members.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, the Minister, Chairperson of the portfolio. Honourable Chairperson, the Honourable Minister of Finance recently advised in his budget speech that due to the current energy crisis, we should be focused on less energy-intensive sectors in this country, of which tourism is a prime example. He further advised that the best prospects for the economic growth lie in the promotion of such sectors and that their ability to positively contribute to the economy should not be underestimated. It is therefore of no surprise when we look at the first quarter figures of 2015 that tourism and find a steady, sustained performance, and this is despite the recent challenges in the operating environment, which include continued concerns over Ebola, xenophobia, and the ongoing energy crisis, as prohibitive immigration and visa regulations also. Efforts to support this sector must be intensified and barriers to entry reduced. Greater budget allocation will help this sector unlock its full potential and must be supported. Honourable Chair, the Honourable Minister Hanekom said in his address that tourism is not only about increasing the number of tourists, tourism directly and indirectly contributes to more than 10% of employment in South Africa, which is conservative in that were tourism more fully funded, we would see more employment being created. With approximately half of our youth and more than 25% of the population currently unemployed, it is surprising that tourism has not been greater financial assistance from Treasury. The meager 55 million out of the tourism incentive allocation to ensure renewable and reliable energy supply to World Heritage Sites, national parks, botanical gardens, and community-based tourism projects is not nearly enough for this to be sustainable. But in the same breath, we feel that arts and culture should bear some of the financial burden for heritage sites, as their budget is double that of tourism. While the budget has increased by 300 million to 1.8 billion rand, which is a step in the right direction, moves like the reduction of 44 million in the domestic tourism program can only negatively affect the tourism industry. It is reported at any given time, 3/4 of all tourists in South Africa are South Africans. Yet due to the high profits yielded from international tourism, we do not cater enough for the local tourists. This department should consider promoting local business in the establishment of a pilot budget resort chain which would in some way or other cater to the local tourists. There are many factors that contribute to the country's success in the tourism market. Ease of visa access being one of them. Recent changes to the South African
1 minute
Immigration
left,
Act.
honorable member. 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you. Has been blamed for the sudden drastic drop in the numbers of tourism and the world's fastest growing tourism visiting countries, namely like China and India, is drastically reduced. Chinese arrivals dropped by 50% and India by 15%. We also, the concern exorbitant spending by departmental officials on overseas luxury travel under guise of fact-finding missions must become a practice of the past and must be replaced by a culture of accountability and affordability within the parameters of good corporate government. In conclusion, the role tourism plays in South Africa must be supported and acknowledged as a key driving factor of our economy, and not only for the huge contribution to the GDP, but also the difference it makes in the life of the ordinary South African.
Thank you
Therefore,
very
the
much,
IFP
honorable
support the
member.
budget. I thank you.
Your time has expired. I'm now calling upon the Deputy Minister, Honorable Xhasa.
Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Deputy Ministers that are here, members of the Portfolio Committee, and honorable members, all our guests in the gallery. President Jacob Zuma declared 2015 as the year of the Freedom Charter, a year where we celebrate the coming of age of our democracy, where we reflect on our milestones, the challenges, and how we continuously address them as guided by the National Development Plan. In this context, this month we'll also be celebrating Africa Day, which celebrates African unity. It has to start with us. This commemorates what is known as the African Union and promotes the ethos of socio-economic growth and inclusivity within the continent. This is why we united the country to denounce the xenophobic attacks. Indeed, we are positioned to be globally competitive and are ready to welcome the world to our shores. We need to restore the great reputation of our beloved country, South Africa, and continue to grow Africa for a better world. We believe that tourism is what can build the people-to-people relations, and therefore our attitude is very critical, and our values would be the foundation for us to build this country. Chairperson, to demonstrate our commitment, we applaud South African tourism's work because we will be opening 2 offices in Angola and Kenya during this financial year, adding to our recently opened office in Nigeria. In line with the National Development Plan, our focus is on inclusive economic growth and job creation. Tourism is recognized as one of the main drivers of the economy and employment, and this sector is also recognized as one of the 6 core pillars of growth for this country as part of the new growth plan. This requires that we work diligently to sustain a firm foundation from which we can continue to attract more visitors to the country, deepen our transformation agenda, and move South Africans ever further along the path to true freedom. Domestic tourism, as was indicated, is the backbone of our tourism and sustainability, and it is a key component of our journey going forward. At any given time, 3/4 of all tourists in South Africa are South Africans themselves, and indeed this is the backbone of our industry and plays a major role in the sustainability of the sector. The Minister has indicated already on our intervention in this sector, and we're taking seriously the fact that we need to build more on it. South Africa has a strong and vibrant cultural diversity, and this includes tangible and intangible culture and heritage tourism product in the form of arts, crafts, festivals, indigenous knowledge systems, oral history, storytelling, folklore, heritage sites, natural heritage, to name but a few. And we have rich and vivid history, ideal for cultural tourism. I recently attended the launch of the Moruleng Cultural Precinct in the Northwest Province. What is interesting about this attraction is the preservation and celebration of heritage, the promotion of education, the community development element, the promotion of careers in the heritage sector, job creation through the empowerment of local entrepreneurs, artists and crafters, tourism and nation building. Moruleng will provide a diverse experience for tourists visiting the area who would normally visit Sun City and Pilanesberg by adding a culture and heritage experience. We welcome and acknowledge the leadership of His Royal Highness Kgosi Pilane in that vicinity, and we will be taking a good lesson of how we integrate all in building tourism. Our niche area receiving attention in our current financial year is culture and heritage, specifically our liberation heritage. In partnership with the National Department of Arts and Culture, provinces and local government, we are working to explore the tourism potential of 300 sites that are listed by the National Heritage Council in the Liberation Heritage Route database. We recognize that there can be no economic development without people development. By empowering our people, we give them the tools with which to participate in the economy in a meaningful way and take advantage of what South Africa has to offer. In the past financial year, we have made great strides in our focus to bring the human element into all our programs, and we are constantly seeking to find synergies between the initiatives we implement and people development. Some examples of how this has been done successfully include the programs that were mentioned earlier on, the National Youth Chefs Program, the Tourism Buddies, the Sommeliers and Food Safety Assurance Program that were mentioned earlier on. Just to mention that a journey into this industry starts very small and it grows to be bigger. As part of our guests today, we have Luvo Ndezo, here, who started just as a porter 15 years ago. He then moved on to become a glass washer. Listen, first, honorable members. And after a series of studies at the Western Cape Wine Academy and studies in viticulture, he became head sommelier in the whole of South Africa and Africa. He is number 4 in the world. This talks to our commitment to the future sustainability of the tourism industry by supporting young people who have chosen a career in tourism. These have succeeded because we are in partnership with the private sector in all the programs that I have mentioned. The National Young Chefs Program, which was launched by the department, owing to the dire shortage of chefs in the tourism industry in South Africa, has resulted in more than 2,000 young people benefiting, with some already catering in their own businesses, others having been absorbed, while others are trained in advanced training. An indication was also made that we still continue with this program because it is successful. Our food safety program pilot that has been introduced is a new career path within the hospitality sector. Unemployed hospitality and tourism graduates in our TVET colleges are being inducted as food safety assurers in hygiene, food handling, preparation, and storage, with 65 graduates having been placed already even before the end of the program by the end of this month. 3 provinces have been participating: Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal, and Limpopo. And we're looking forward that this program continues. Tsogosan Hotel Group have already realized the value that the young people on this program add to their businesses. They are the ones who have placed the 65% of these young graduates. Work is underway to place the remainder of the intake, with interest shown by the Departments of Correctional Services and Health for deployment of these assurers at their hospital and prison kitchens. In the current financial year, we intend to take more young people. 300 will benefit out of this program. The Hilton Group has also shown its commitment by forming a sustainable partnership with us and by being a strong proponent for our National Tourism Careers Expo. Our National Careers Expo is our passport to the world curriculum, which is learner-centered with a focus on acquiring knowledge, experience, and skills related to the tourism industry. This is another of our flagship programs, which started in 2008, a platform primarily that promotes tourism as a career, a profession, an employer of choice, whilst also encouraging young people to take up entrepreneurial opportunities that exist in the sector. The last session, whose leg was in the Eastern Cape, saw an introduction of a new important platform called Studentpreneur, which is seeking to unearth the entrepreneurial innovation from young people. 5 youth in school business ideas and innovations qualified for further business development that the department is working to support. We continue our theme of youth development through programs such as Future Leaders Forum, that is run jointly by Amex, which is a trade show. Many students have benefited from peer networking and career guidance and opportunities by attending one of the 81 forums worldwide since 2003. In 2014, the winner of the International University Challenge at Meetings Africa was a student from Northwest University who came second globally at the challenge in Frankfurt. Nominations are now open to all full-time registered final year students in event tourism and hospitality management. Equally, we are empowering women in the tourism space to make their voices heard and prepare them to take the lead in driving the sector forward. In 2014, we held the inaugural conference of what has become now Women in Tourism. It has committed its work to the following pillars: respect, recognition, representation, and results. We have started on a national mobilization that will see provincial chapters of women in tourism established. At the recent Indaba, an impressive group of women from the public and private sector gathered to network and strengthen alliances. We would like to make sure that more women-owned tourism enterprises are aware and benefit from available government support. Earlier this year, we announced the introduction of the Tourism Incentive Program, as was indicated earlier on by the Minister, and this program offers financial support to tourism enterprises that aims to reduce the cost of doing business and to stimulate business growth and development. We would like, therefore, to encourage more women enterprises to take charge of that program. Business and events also are just one other example of how we are attracting business into South Africa. I would not bore the House by getting into how far we've gone, but what we also are focusing on is on the tourist guiding, where we're deepening standards in that profession, and we are professionalizing tourist guiding. We have successfully entered into agreements with CATSITA and Field Guides Association of Southern Africa, and we have seen positive results with more numbers growing over the period, where we're looking into registration figures that grew by 12.26% over the past 5 years. We also can see the growth of black tourist
Honorable
guides
Minister,
within
Honorable Deputy
this
Minister,
portfolio.
I'm
Chairperson,
sorry, your time has expired.
thank you very much. As I conclude, I wish to quote from our old man Nelson Mandela that I dream of the realization of unity of Africa, whereby its
Minister.
leaders combine in their efforts to
Deputy
solve
Minister.
problems of this
Deputy
continent.
Minister.
I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I'm now calling upon Honorable Bekwa.
Honorable Chair, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, honorable members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. The 1994 Reconstruction Development Program, a policy document which origin is to be found in the work of the Congress Alliance, remains a guide to government program and projects. In its wisdom, it recognized that tourism is a major source of employment and a foreign exchange, and will therefore need to receive a greater priority than it had in the past. The RDP states that the tourism industry must be restructured to take maximum advantage of South African extraordinary human and national resources that to develop tourism. Links must be developed with the rest of Southern Africa and compete and open an environment test must be carried out. Honorable Chair, the tourism industry in South Africa has always been anchored on inbound tourism, and this meant international tourism remains a cornerstone of the sector. This inbound tourism has contributed to the growth of the sector and its contribution to economic growth. Domestic tourism and employment. The latest tourism satellite account for 2013, which provides consolidate contribution of the tourism in South Africa economy, indicates that tourism directly contributed approximately 1.3 billion, or 2.9% toward the gross domestic product of the country. The inbound visitor spend was reported to be 94 million. South African visitors spend over 124 million, the South African economy, and 62.5 million in other economies. Honorable Chair, the tourism sector as an export industry had a positive tourism trade balance of over 31 million within the rest of the world. Even though tourist arrival figures were up in 2013, there is a concern about the notable decline in arrival figures from emerging markets such as China, India, and Brazil. The contributing factors to the decline were not immediately recognizable, as the country had been affected by the stigmatization as an unsafe destination emanating from the outbreak of Ebola in some parts of Africa, coupled with policy and regulatory uncertainty from the immigration regulation that will be implemented from the 1st of June 2015. The announcement made by the President in the State of a Nation address that the immigration regulation will be reviewed is welcome. Honorable Chair, this is noted that the Internal Ministerial Committee chaired by the Deputy President will be working on reviewing the immigration regulations. It will be appreciated if the work of this committee should be expected to provide certainty to inbound tour operators and international tourists to prevent further cancellation and encourage forward bookings. The recent xenophobic attacks to foreign nationals has been observed with a great concern, as they might have a further exacerbate the decline in international tourist arrivals. Many countries have issued travel advisors to South Africa, and others pull out of exhibiting at the tourism Indaba, which undermines the work done over the years to stage Indaba as a premier pan-African tourist event. South African tourism has budgeted to continue their work on the brand awareness. The entity is urged to work harder than before to improve South African image through targeted awareness program to mitigate effects of xenophobia in the country as a tourist destination. Honorable Chair, the work done by South African tourism within embassies should be intensified to promote tourism economy. Diplomacy thus mitigates possible negative consequences of xenophobia. South African tourism should also partner with Brand South Africa to promote South Africa as a safe tourist destination. The move by South African tourists to report on tourist arrival instead of foreign arrivals is welcome. This will insist the country to fully understand the contribution of the tourist base on the realistic figures. The ANC vision to create a better South Africa and to contribute a better and a safer Africa in a better world is experienced within the tourism sector. This vision is underpinned by its national interests, a global competitive economy, and being influential and leading member of international committee. The ANC support budget vote 33. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I'm now calling upon Honorable Madisha.
Thank you, Chair. COPE is indeed satisfied that 11 million people are expected to come here as tourists this year. That is very good. By contributing upward of 300 billion rand to the economy, this sector is indeed creating sustainable jobs. The potential, however, is thrice as much. We need innovative thinking, which is largely absent in government. The department must show what is innovative about its endeavors. The department can certainly expand the reach of tourism. People in our scenic and beautiful rural areas are not directly enjoying the benefits of tourism. COPE wishes to see the department investing 5 million rand annually in each of 100 new rural tourism destinations. A total annual outlay of 500 million rand will change the face of tourism industry in our country. Communities should co-own this in conjunction with the department. Rural areas are the repository of culture. Cultural tourism, we know, is very important worldwide. So is eco-tourism. The department must develop and incubate a rural tourism. We want to know from the minister when he will bring rural people into tourism in a big and significant way. The time for a large number of tourism SMEs and cooperatives to come into existence in the rural areas and the townships is now. COPE denounces the reduction of 44 million rand in the domestic tourism program. This is wrong. It's a wrong place to cut back. Government proudly proclaims that it is using counter-cyclical measures to boost the economy. Reducing the domestic tourism program by 44 million rand will keep the economy stagnant. We reject this cut. It is ill-advised. COPE says to the minister that much of the 557.3 million rand that the department has allocated over the medium term to the tourism incentive
1
program
minute left, Honourable
should
Member.
in fact go toward creating rural tourism hubs. That is what COPE will support. The use of 51.5% of the departmental budget to promote tourism likewise is an overkill. Tourism, we must say, Chair, is our country's, rather in our country, must allow for the emergence of a real traveler market. And we hope that we can be able to move together in making sure that our country really goes forward properly. Let us work together there.
Thank you
Minister.
very much, Honourable
Thank you.
Member. I'm now calling upon Honourable Kubisa.
Chairperson, Honorable
Order, Honourable
Chairperson,
members, Honourable members.
tourism is an important sector in South Africa for generating revenue and providing employment. Tourism, Chairperson, can be seen as a sustainable and renewable resource for income and revenue generation, and moreover, an industry which has the potential to benefit those involved in it directly. And we note, therefore, as the NFP, that there is emphasis on international tourism, but we need to say that there is a radical need for a paradigm shift, and we should need to focus on an emergent tourism interest for local tourism entrepreneurs. And we note also our concern also is with the substantial decrease in the allocation for domestic tourism in Program 4. As the NFP, we believe that more emphasis ought to be placed on invoking interest of black people, especially in townships, to identify and develop niche tourism or tourist markets. Assisting such emergent tourist entrepreneurs with registering their business and coaching them.
Order, Honorable Chair.
Can you hold on?
I just want to know whether he's willing to take a question.
Okay, can you hold on?
No, I'm going to take it afterwards.
Okay.
Can
Okay,
you sit down, Honourable Member?
okay. Assisting such emergent tourist entrepreneurs with registering their business and coaching them through mentorship programs to enter the mainstream tourism will be an investment that will enlarge this industry. We also have the opinion that cultural tourism is a largely untapped source within the tourism program, which is underdeveloped. Rural communities should be capacitated to add value, to add a unique product to the current bouquet of tourist options available to foreign and domestic tourists alike. Traditional leaders have an important role to
1
play
minute
in
left,
developing.
Honourable Member.
Traditional leaders have an important role to play in developing rural-based tourism, and the department would be well advised to invite their input in developing this sector of the tourism industry. We understand also that the xenophobic upheavals we experience are likely to have a negative impact on our attraction for international tourists, and we urge the department to ensure that we dispel such negative connotations. Having said that, Honourable Chairperson, because we've already said that tourism is very important, the NFP will support the budget.
Thank you very much.
Then I'll take the
Honourable
question later.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. I'm now calling upon Honourable Xhego.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister of Tourism, Deputy Minister of Tourism and Deputy Ministers, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Members, guests in the gallery, South Africans, Molweni. Let me thank the ANC government for creating a platform so that we participate in this budget debate vote number 33 of the Department of Tourism. Chairperson, I am dedicating my speech to the born frees of 1994 by way of reminding them of men and women who sacrificed their lives fighting for the democracy that they enjoy today. Some of them sometimes forget that those men and women were fighting for them. Chairperson, this budget, as tabled by Minister of Tourism in this House, will make the ANC continue telling the good story, as it is the only organization that brings better life to the people of South Africa. As the Portfolio Committee on Tourism, we have analyzed the annual performance plan and the budget for the year 2015-16. It confirms the fact that tourism is one of the top 6 growth drivers of the economy worldwide. Tourism contributes more to the GDP. That is why the Department of Tourism creates a conducive environment through these budgets for the whole tourism industry to contribute to job creation and poverty alleviation. In a strategy to improve service delivery, the Department of Tourism has a program of domestic tourism whose mandate is to instill the culture of traveling among South Africans. Chairperson, it is not by their choice that the majority of South Africans regard tourism as an industry for a particular group of people. That is as a result of the apartheid system that was there before 1994. And this budget is exactly addressing that. Chairperson, I am here to confirm that this budget is realistic. Realistic in the sense that it translates ANC resolutions into government policies, policies into actions, programs into service delivery. A budget that accommodates all because it is a budget of the people by the people themselves. Gone are the days where a chosen few would sit somewhere in a corner and decide what must be done for the whole South Africa. The ANC government, through Imbizo's oversights and community meetings, makes South Africans participate in whatever they involves them. Nothing for us without us. The ANC acknowledges that the budget accommodates everyone, young and old, rich and poor, unskilled, semi-skilled and skilled, educated and uneducated, urban and rural, asimanga siyakho. The entity of the Department of Tourism, which is South African Tourism, with its allocation this financial year, is mandated to market South Africa to its 54 million people and abroad, to make it their priority to discover and enjoy the mountains, the oceans, the wildlife, the beauty, the culture, heritage, humanity of their own country. Honorable Chairperson, as I speak, the tourism sector has directly employed 665,000 South Africans and indirectly 1.4 million. Is that not a good story to tell? Really, it is. The department is embarking on a social responsibility program, on infrastructure programs under the Extended Public Works Program, with a specific target on youth, women, SMME, and people living with disabilities, resulting in 8,967 EPW full-time equivalent jobs. The ANC appreciates this EPW program. It confirms that we will never abandon our people. They are our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, and fathers. The Department of Tourism fully understands that it is not alone in the industry. There are strategic departments and municipalities, and that resulted in having a planned program that targets municipal policymakers and practitioners. The ANC also appreciates the following programs. The program of skills audit that is to be undertaken during this financial year, the contribution to youth development of the National Tourism Expo, creating awareness to learners about different tourism careers, the issue of prioritizing graduates from TVET colleges. This is by way of ensuring that the industry ensures tourist satisfaction. We are really moving South Africa forward. This is what the ANC promised in its manifesto during 2014 general elections, creating decent jobs. Honorable Chairperson, to crown what I've just mentioned above, the Department of Tourism gave birth to a new baby program, the Tourism Incentive Program, which also seeks to ensure tourist satisfaction and transformation in the industry. Through this program, qualifying emerging enterprises will be supported to enroll to the South African Tourism Grading Council and make their registered establishments qualified to have a stake in the basket of benefits enjoyed by graded establishments. The Sustainability and Enhancement Project is also welcomed as it will contribute to the fight against poverty and unemployment. We welcome the focus of the Department of Tourism in professionalizing and regulating tourist guiding. Tour guides have a big potential of attracting more tourists to boost our economy and promote our culture and heritage. The ANC is in full support of this budget. Mhlali ngaphambili oko kubonisa ukuba ukhongolose unankathalo ngabantu boMzantsi Afrika. Yiyo lonto xa sibona abantu esingabaziyo bephithizela sibabuza umbuzo othi babephi na aba bantu emzabalazweni. They seem to be causing confusion among people of South Africa. Let me remind them that in any aircraft there is one pilot. If you happen not be the pilot, you must just enjoy the ride. It is only the ANC that is in control. This budget debate takes place during the Africa Month, when we as Africans celebrate achievements made by the African Union so far. South Africans must remain focused and adhere to the commitment of South African government in taking a lead in ensuring that there is political stability in
You have
our
1 minute
neighboring
left,
countries,
Honorable Member, 1 minute left.
as to prevent the crowd that may be there in our borders. At this point, Honorable Chairperson, I am touched by the words by a well-known South African composer, Enoch Sontonga, and I echo his words. Nkosi sikelele Africa. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I'm now calling upon Honorable Whitfield.
Thank you, Chairperson. Let me just start by saying that this budget allocation to tourism is an insult to the sector's ambitions and to the department's ambitions. I agree with the Minister that less than 1% budget allocation and a contribution of almost 10% to GDP is an unequal ratio, and this department is consistently expected to do more for the economy with less of the budget compared to other departments. But Chairperson, I'm here to talk about heritage and culture. The promotion of heritage and cultural tourism is critical to addressing the geographical spread of tourism and building an inclusive economy. Through the effective packaging and marketing of our heritage and cultural tourism assets, we have the ability to link rural communities to the tourism value chain, creating jobs and opportunities for many South Africans. In this regard, the Department and South African Tourism must be commended for packaging and promoting the recently launched Madiba Journey app. I have downloaded the app, and I trust that the Minister has as well. It is a fantastic digital product that links tourists to our real products on the ground and that tell the story of Madiba's long walk to freedom. However, the true success of this app and the locations it promotes depends on the condition of the products on the ground. The Department of Tourism cannot absolve itself of this responsibility, as it is the quality of these products that determine the value of the tourist experience. The Nelson Mandela Youth and Heritage Centre in Kunu, part of the Madiba Journey, is a case in point. I have visited the center and was impressed by the architecture and the sweeping views over the Mbashe River below. However, the service upon arrival was non-existent. This is a matter we've addressed with the minister before, and I know that he will take it to heart. In fact, the only person to greet me in Kunu was a security guard who could not point me in the right direction. Another example is the Craddock 4 Memorial, where Matthew Goniwe, Fort Talata, Sparrow Mkonto, and Sicelo Mhlali are commemorated for their sacrifice in the fight against apartheid. The only sign indicating the location of the site sets one down a road to nowhere. Only through much guesswork and by carefully navigating a dilapidated road does one arrive at a broken down and overrun multi-million rand development. It is evident upon arrival that this memorial site has never been operational, and the local municipality should hang its head in shame. Tourists who stumble across the Craddock 4 Memorial leave shocked and disappointed with only Google to tell them the story of these 4 brave men. My colleague, Honorable Voss, raised his concerns about the condition of the Vredefort Dome earlier this year. Just last week, on a reputable heritage website, a tourist commented, and I quote, "As I visited the site today, I was met at the closed gate by a not-so-friendly official from the Fezile Dabi district municipality who would or could not answer any questions related to any activities at the site. This matter is a disgrace to South Africa and is not promoting tourism," end quote. While the budget for signage at this heritage site is welcome, Deputy Minister, the problems here go far beyond the erection of signs. Chair, too many of our heritage sites are being neglected. Research by South African Tourism indicates that heritage and cultural products are sought after by tourists. However, and I quote, "they are underperforming relative to their potential." I quote from the Heritage and Cultural Tourism Strategy that says the gap analysis conducted by South African Tourism shows that more tourists prefer culture and heritage than wildlife viewing, yet fewer had experienced it while in South Africa. Even though heritage and cultural products are highly desired by tourists, this cultural diversity is underrepresented and underperforming within the tourism market. The department needs to take the heritage and cultural tourism strategy
1 minute,
off the shelf,
honourable member.
dust it off and provide sufficient funding for its full implementation. In the light of the recent vandalism and protests around statues and heritage and the abundant potential of heritage and cultural tourism, I believe that the department must play a bigger role in ensuring that it addresses the various shortcomings in this regard. In the coming financial year, I will be pushing for increased funding to implement the Heritage and Cultural Tourism Strategy, as well as the formation of public-private partnerships to ensure the maintenance and upgrading of heritage sites. I will also continue to stress the importance of functional strategic partnerships, as the Deputy Minister has alluded to, with arts and culture, with relevant departments to ensure that we deliver quality heritage and cultural tourism products across the country. And finally, I will request the department to investigate the potential for the Tourism Grading Council to expand its mandate to incorporate the grading of our heritage sites to ensure improved quality control for our tourists. I
Thank you, Honourable Member. I'm now calling upon Honourable Makubela Mashele.
Honorable House Chair, Minister and Deputy Minister, members of the Tourism Portfolio Committee led by the Honorable Beatrice Ngobo, members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to greet you all. I make my contribution to Budget Vote 33 this afternoon of the Department of Tourism during Africa Month. In a few days from now, on the 25th of May, we will be celebrating Africa Day. I am reminded of a renowned speech delivered by Dr. Pixley Isaka Kaseme on the regeneration of Africa. Honorable members, the regeneration of Africa was Dr. Pixley Kaseme's call for all African states to stand up and be counted amongst the nations of the world. The late former President Nelson Mandela added his voice on the African agenda by calling for the African Renaissance, meaning the new birth of Africa. A call that emphasized the fact that we have it in ourselves as Africans to change our material conditions. A call that we must in action assert our will to do so. And we must say that there is no obstacle big enough to stop us from bringing about the African Renaissance. Honorable members, Africa is central to the future of South Africa. For her future growth and development, South Africa needs Africa. According to Kevin Links, an economist, during the 2013, South African exports to the rest of Africa represented almost 29% of total exports, making it the second largest export destination after Asia, who's on the #1 spot on 32% exports. This qualifies the above statement that South Africa needs Africa for her prosperity. Many travelers will land on our South African soil before connecting to the other African destinations that make South Africa a gateway into Africa. For any investor to do business with us, they will want to visit us either or both on business or leisure. Our vision of being a destination of choice and being amongst the top 20 destinations in the world can only be realized when investors choose us as trading partners for our domestic goods and services. In this historic 60th year of the Freedom Charter, the aspirations of what is enshrined in the Freedom Charter should be our program of action geared at the total eradication of poverty and unemployment. Allow me to remind ourselves today that we are still bound by the People's Contract, which we entered into with the people of South Africa through their vote for us. We promise to bring a better life for all. Poverty and unemployment and inequalities have become a cancer that is slowly eroding our democratic gains in this new South Africa. We have all been negatively impacted by the lack of slow jobs and lack of economic growth. Tourism has, however, proved its ability to create sustainable and labor-intensive job opportunities. The tourism sector currently employs just over 600,000 citizens directly and approximately 1.4 million people indirectly. This constitutes about 4.4% to our labor force in the country. These jobs can only be sustainable if those who are tasked with enforcing compliance of our labor legislations can come on board and protect even the most vulnerable restaurant worker. As we advocate for the tourism sector to create employment opportunities, we should not lose sight and focus on monitoring that these opportunities are in line with our decent work agenda. Skills shortage remain high, and this may hamper further creation of job opportunities. In ensuring that the sector continues to create the much more needed jobs, Honorable Minister, the tourism budget for the next 5 years must also cater for a variety of skills programs. This must be done across the board, from awareness programs in school, and most importantly, the youth that needs to be absorbed into the sector. The private sector has always raised concerns that tourism curriculum provided by our institutions of higher learning do not produce graduates that are fit for purpose. Employers stated the need to spend a sizable amount of their budget to retrain graduates, making them ready for their jobs. The sector skills program budgeted for 2015-16 financial year will go a long way, Honorable Minister, in addressing these shortages and training gaps in the industry. It is a known fact that the tourism industry in South Africa is dominated by big tourism businesses. These big businesses are successful as they are always linked to international markets, serviced by well-established inbound tour operators. However, the tourism industry has numerous small companies which are operated on a small scale. Most of these tourism SMMEs operate bed and breakfast establishment, backpackers accommodation, and guest houses. It is inspiring and refreshing to see a strong emergence of the township tourism operators and tour guides. These tourism SMMEs are also faced with a number of challenges, which includes market access, business management skills, ICT infrastructure, and other bottlenecks such as compliance with our legislations and the local government bylaws. Honorable Minister, our rural and township economies have been distressed for a very long time. The time has come and the time is now for all government budgets, including this one of the Tourism Department, to be a catalyst for transformation and bring about meaningful change to the lives of many South Africans. The multiplier and ripple effect of this budget must bear fruit. Our rural and township economies must come alive with endless opportunities. Honorable House Chair, allow me to conclude my address this afternoon by addressing Minister and the executive authority of the department led by the team of accounting officers, led by the acting DG, Mr. Victor, and the entity led by CEO, Mr. Nzima. We support the tourism budget tabled this afternoon by Minister Hanekom. We see that the budget summary is about 1.8 billion, and it's estimated to grow to about 2.7 billion in the outer years. We know that the purpose of this budget is to promote and support the growth and development of an equitable, competitive, sustainable tourism sector, enhancing its contribution to the national priorities. I choose to address Team Department Tourism because every rand and cent that must be spent on this budget will be done by your good selves. This budget, however small as it may seem, looking at all the line items that we want addressed as politicians, will go a long way if it is spent wisely and accordingly. Our role as the Portfolio Committee on Tourism will be to hold you accountable on behalf of the citizens whose money you are spending. We do applaud you on showing commitments and adherence to the PFMA and Treasury regulations on your spending patterns. This is reflected on your unqualified opinions from the Auditor General in the previous years. Before I sit down, Honorable Chair, allow me to remind ourselves as public representatives elected to serve our country at this level. Contrary to the popular opinion, leadership is not a reserved position of a particular group of people who are elected, appointed, ordained, or enthroned. Leadership is self-made, self-retained, self-inculcated, and then exposed through a fruitful, sincere, and exemplary life. Let these wise words resonate with all of us as we carry our duties diligently to the service of our people. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I'm now calling upon the Honorable Minister.
Chairperson, could I just confirm with you how much time I have?
You have 7 minutes.
7 minutes, thank you very much. Honourable members, thank you very much for, by and large, extremely positive contributions to this debate and some of the ideas that have been passed on to us. I'm going to try and address some of these, the comments that have been made during the debate. But just to the learners up there, I mean, having seen this exercise now, maybe I've given you bad advice. You know, it gets pretty rough down here. Maybe you should just stick to jobs in restaurants and hotels and leave this stuff to us, okay? The chairperson and honourable members, I mean, many of the people who spoke in our debate spoke about our diverse and rich cultural heritage. We really don't need to look any further than the Honourable Makubele Mashele, our whip of the committee. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. Just look at that. Isn't she just magnificent? Isn't that beautiful? But the truth of the matter is that we have many costumes and cultures and music and song and dance in our country. We must celebrate this. And so I agree with the Honourable Whitfield that we really have to promote our heritage tourism. It's a richness that we have. As part of our rich cultural tapestry, I think you've noticed that we have this very colorful group sitting up there. The group of minstrels who really did us proud when they participated in a carnival in Seychelles recently. And I must say, they go there, they've been going there for several years now at their own expense, representing South Africa very, very proudly. Honourable members, I haven't really shared this with my own party for that matter, but they made me an honorary minstrel. So please don't call me honourable member anymore. Call me honourable minstrel, if you don't mind. To Honourable Member Force, I think your proposals are good and constructive. Now, I don't want my comrades here to get angry with me, when I praise the members of the opposition, but I must say that on this portfolio committee, all of the members are constructively involved in this portfolio committee, and a good tribute to Sis Beatrice Ngobo there as the chairperson of the committee, who is, I would like to believe, and I'm sure Mr. Force, you agree with me, who really is acquitting herself of the task very well and holding this committee together. Well done, Sis Beatrice. On making our tourism attractions more affordable, I must say I agree with you. I agree entirely. We need more of the Table Mountain type of examples, and we will be engaging. I'll engage with my counterpart so that we can find, ways in which we make all of these key destinations that every South African, irrespective of their income level, can go to at least once in a lifetime. Honourable members, we have Robben Island just across the sea over here. There's some kind of travesty if an ordinary South African who would love to go to Robben Island, which is such an iconic spot, once in their lifetime and is unable to do so. So I will be engaging with my counterpart, and we will be looking at models that will allow every South African access to our wonderful heritage. On the municipal resorts, I should say, Honourable Force, we have already worked on this, and we will continue. To give examples, in the Vembe District Municipality, the beautiful Pipidi Waterfalls, there is an affordable resort where a chalet costs only 400 Rand for a family. The Caravan Park in Grahamstown, in terms of, as part of our EPWP, we upgraded the Caravan Park. I can refer to Kemus and various other examples, but the point is made, and we agree with you, that we want these municipal resorts, especially those that are there already, enhance them and help make them affordable so that it increases domestic tourism, which I agree is very important to our country. The Honourable Mokauze from the EFF, look, sector wage determination is not the responsibility of the Department of Tourism, it's the Department of Labour, but we will continuously engage with the sector. We will continuously engage with the sector to try to ensure that they do their utmost to improve working conditions. But I must say, when I read about the low wages paid by the leader of your party to his gardener once upon a time, I would say perhaps you should start the campaign right there. The Honourable Esthuizen, we agree with you. Of course we agree with you that there's a very strong case for a budget increase. But for the moment, we have our budget, and we can say quite proudly to this House that we are using this budget well. We're using it to the best of our ability, so that our challenge is to use existing resources efficiently, and as time goes along, we will deserve budget increases, and we will get it. I must say, though, Honourable Esthuizen, we do not waste money on extravagant overseas trips. We don't do that in the Department of Tourism, but it must be said that the work of SA Tourism is to sell South Africa internationally. So they will be going out there to market South Africa to the world and sell South Africa at international travel shows, for that matter. But we will not do it in an extravagant manner. So we take your point. We hear you. Honourable Madisha, innovative thinking we do have in abundance between the department, between SA Tourism, and between the many bodies, including the private sector, that we work very closely with. There are just an abundance of examples of lodges, of hotels, of restaurants doing the most fantastic things.
1 minute left,
If I had
Honourable
time,
Minister.
I would share some of these examples with you, but there's no shortage of innovative thinking. Madiba journey, and I'll end here. Honourable Whitfield, we take your points. We've got to make sure the app is very good. The app is very good, but every stop along that journey must be well managed. The tour guiding must be good. We can say even in Robben Island, there is room for improvement. So we take your points as constructive points. World Heritage sites are very, very important to us. They are uniquely ours. So the Vredefort Dome, for example, as a World Heritage site, a lot of what happens there depends on the interpretive center and the quality of the guiding. We will give our World Heritage sites in the years to come special attention because they are uniquely South African. With those few words, once again, thank you to all of you. Very, very good debate, and we take your proposals very seriously. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Members are reminded that the debates on public enterprises and environmental affairs budget votes will take place at 16:40 in the National Assembly Chamber and Old Assembly Chamber, respectively. That concludes the debate of the business of this extended public committee. The committee will now rise.